our webinar today. And today's topic is C2B2, a program for sustainable blue economy in Sweden. And I'm Yixin, I'm hosting the webinar. And today's speaker is Torsten. And we both are involved in Ocean Data Factory, and Torsten is coordinating and leading ODF, and I'm responsible for the continuous evaluation innovation part and also organizing the webinar. Let me first introduce Torsten. Torsten works as project coordinator at the University of Gothenburg, and his background is mainly in research and teaching in physical oceanography. Nowadays, he collaborates a lot between academia, industry, and the public sector. His focus is on projects in marine data, both collection, analysis, and utilization of marine data. And his overall ambition is to increase the pace of innovation and the use of marine data. And today, he's going to share with us about C2B2, co-creating better value. And in December last year, we heard the good news that Mistra, the Swedish Foundation for Strategic Environment Research, they will fund C2B2. And this consortium behind C2B2 include many actors from the network around both Ocean Data Factory Sweden and SCOOT, Swedish Centre for Ocean Observing Technology. And C2B2 is initially funded for 4 years. C2B2 identifies co-creation as the most important tool for sustainability in human activities at sea. And now there are already 38 maritime actors from industry, academia, public sector, and civil society start working together in C2B2. And the program is open for more to join. And we look forward to hear more about C2B2 from Torsten. Thank you. Now the stage is yours.
Thanks a lot, Yixin. Now let's see if I can get this right. Okay, I think you see my PowerPoint presentation, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. Okay, thanks a lot, Yixin, for that nice introduction. So I'm going to talk about C2B2, and just to be very, very clear, C2B2 is not the same as R2D2, obviously. I'm not going to talk about who's inside that Star Wars robot. I'm going to talk a little bit about who's inside this exciting program. And I'm also going to talk about how this relates to Ocean Data Factory, about the overlaps and synergies, and how the Ocean Data Factory community can interact with C2B2. So C2B2 is co-creating better blue. It's a Mistra program funded from the call a Sustainable Blue Economy for Sweden. And I'm the program director, but the person behind the design of the program is the scientific director, Uta Ven. And some of you, I think, have met her. She is a visiting professor in marine citizen science, officially at University of Gothenburg, but it was very much an ODF activity that invited and made it possible for Uta to come and become a visiting professor at the University of Gothenburg. Special thanks here goes to Marisa Ponti, department colleague of Yixin. Okay, so C2B2 envisions a more sustainable, open and democratic, multi-sector and multi-actor blue economy. Many words there loaded with meaning. And some of those words, or at least similar words, are what we use to describe the Ocean Data Factory Sweden. We talk about solving our global challenges, to turning ocean data into innovation opportunities for the digital blue economy. And 3 words that I like to use when talking about ODF is fun, sustainable, and together. And that is perhaps a more lightweight way of saying co-creation. We do it together, and it's about engaging actors from different sectors. All right. So the ocean faces several challenges. That's something we acknowledge in C2B2 as well as in ODF. Here are 4 sort of bullet points for this. We talk about energy, it's food, it's mobility and transport, and of course the environmental status of the ocean. And any one of these are worth a lot of effort and a program of its own. However, in C2B2, our approach is to go beyond the single sector. And we think that the real challenge is to tackle all of these simultaneously. While the space, the marine domain is increasingly claimed, there's increasing competition for space at sea, while simultaneously the marine ecosystems become more and more fragile. So this is sort of an overarching view of the challenges, treating them as a whole. And this figure, I will not go into the details, illustrates the methodology in C2B2. I will just highlight a few things. At the very center, you see this circular piece saying data, knowledge, decision, and action. And this is something we recognize from Ocean Data Factory, something we think a lot about, something we care about, and something we try to do, starting from the point of data, but always, or having data as something central, but always thinking about how data in itself is not worth anything. It must be knowledge, and the purpose is to come to decision and action. You see that there are 2 arrows, one pointing upwards and one pointing downwards. And I think the one to the left, the bottom-up approach, is what comes relatively close to how we try to work in Ocean Data Factory, not least in innovation cycle number 6, where we try to focus on citizen science and outreach. That sort of embeds this bottom-up approach. I will point further more specifically to data stewardship. In C2B2, our ODF partner S&D, as in Swedish National Data Service, and Dave Reiner is present at the meeting, I noticed. I think it was at least partly during the innovation cycle, ODF's innovation cycle 5, where we talked a lot about data availability, where this idea about marine data stewardship really formed. And I'm super excited about having that included in the C2B2 program. And here you see open data collection platforms. This is something we hope to dig into in at least a small scale in Ocean Data Factory. Actually now in our innovation cycle number 7, which we call Do It Ourselves challenge. And this is something still under development, something that is starting to happen right now in ODF. I will have a slide at the very end about this, some statements about this innovation cycle 7. And I just want to apologize even now that I on Slack made a statement that could be misinterpreted because I forgot to include a negation, a not. I said that what I wanted to say, that during this innovation number 7, other activities in ODF should not stop or slow down. So a lot of things will continue to happen in Ocean Data Factory Sweden, while we also engage in this cycle number 7, do it ourselves. Not everything else should stop and we should all build and deploy sensors. That is not what will happen. All right, back to C2B2. We structure the program in these work packages. You see 3 vertical pillars with 3 work packages: open ecosystem and climate science, open data-driven innovation and emerging technologies, that's package 2, and package 3 is ocean governance and adaptive management. I think that package 2 will be very interesting for the ODF community. And we have some ODF people already committed to this work package. Perhaps even more for the wider ODF community will work package 4 be interesting, where a lot of the co-creation will happen, including in the living labs. You see, we have 3 living labs, north, east, and west, and I will come back to those. And work package 4 is led by our scientific director, Uta Ben, who is at IHE Delft in the Netherlands. And the 3 living labs have very appropriate leads. The north is led by Umeå Marine Research Centre, which is part of Umeå University, and the Living Lab East is led by Stockholm Environment Institute, and West is led by RISE, but it's a Gothenburg office, so there's a West touch to that. And University of Gothenburg lead package 1 and RISE lead package 2, and Havsmiljöinstitutet, SIME, Swedish Institute for the Marine Environment, lead package 3. And the whole program is hosted by University of Gothenburg. Okay, living labs. I'm not an expert, so I will not go into the details. But a statement sort of captures what it is about. It's innovation experiments with stakeholders in real life settings. And you see the map there. We have 3 living labs, and they cover the entire, all of Swedish marine areas. They're out to the exclusive economic zone. And this table shows the already committed stakeholders. And maybe the text is kind of small, so you don't see them all. But nevertheless, the ones in the bold font are from industry, and the one in not bold font are from public sector. And they have expressed interest to participate in the 3 living labs as shown in this table. And they have expressed interest in 3 sectors: shipping, including leisure boating, fisheries, and offshore installations. And you see by the illustration to offshore installations that a big thing, of course, when it comes to offshore installations is offshore wind. About these 3 sectors, it's not exclusive. It's not said from the start that these are the only activities or sectors that are of relevance, but these 3 are sort of impossible to exclude. These are definitely, will they be of relevance? So that's why they have to be mentioned. And I think we got that right, because the stakeholders found it possible to describe their interest in these three sectors. Okay, just very briefly about each of the living labs. I will not go through details here. I'll just point out a few highlights, and I will offer perhaps slightly personal reflection on each of them. The description, the objectives here, they each start with the science in the objective of improved understanding based on new data sources. And for the Living Lab North, we mention the climate change, which is very much pronounced at high latitudes, such as in the case study area north. And also highlighted here under the technical headline is an offshore test area. That is an objective, and we're not starting from scratch. We're not starting alone. Our partners at in the Härnösand area, they have very advanced plans, and so this is something we aim to include in the Living Lab North.
Go to the gym on my own, don't go to class.
Hi, Robin. Okay, and personal reflection on this lab. Maybe, I'm saying just maybe, this is the lab where the best chances are. What do I mean by that? Well, my impression is that in this region, the competition for space and the competing interests are perhaps a little less severe. And maybe that offers a chance to really make progress in the co-creation. I hope so. Let's see if that really happens. So Living Lab East, that's Baltic proper. Once again, the scientific objective is to improved understanding based on new data sources. And on the technological level, I emphasize understand opportunities for multifunctional, and then comes more formulations. Multifunctionality will for sure feature in all of the living labs, but the Living Lab East lead is a real expert in the area, and so maybe that is where it will feature most of all. We will see. And my personal reflection on this living lab is that it has some risks related to security. I think we are all aware of the security situation that has always been present in Baltic proper, but is not developing for the better. I'm very glad that we have 3 different living labs, and that they are not as affected as Living Lab East. I think there are risks there. However, I think we should remember that these concerns are simply a part of the blue economy. We cannot see them as anything else. So it is also an opportunity to really engage with these challenges. Maybe there will be questions about that afterwards. I don't know. Finally, Living Lab West, once again, improved understanding based on new data sources. And we hope that we will get lots of data from robots, ships of opportunity, offshore installations. And my personal reflection here is that this living lab is perhaps the one that is has most of the ODF component in it, where a lot of ODF people probably will be engaged in this living lab. Okay, I'm starting to wrap up here. The timeline for C2B2 is that we are now in a pre-inception phase where we focus on getting communication going, including website and social media, a lot of preparations and pre-meetings going on. And from September, we have, in this year, we have an official start with a 6-month inception phase. And in September, October, we will have kickoffs for living labs and web packages. And we will be active for at least 4 years until 2027. Feel free to contact us. Here are the living lab leads. In north, it's Nick and Karina in the east, and Jessica in Living Lab West. You are, of course, super free to contact me and Scientific Director Uta Wien as well. Perhaps the facial expressions of the Living Lab leaders summarizes something. It's 2 parts dead seriousness and hard work, and 1/3 all fun and optimism. Well, the seriousness can also be about optimism. However, remember that emotion is equally shared among the living labs. Both Nick and Karina are smiling at fun people, and Jessica can be deadly serious as well. Okay. Questions? And there's a little reminder to me that there is one more slide related to cycle 7 in ODF. But maybe we'll take questions first. Should I stop sharing so we can see each other, Yishin? Or
Yeah,
what do you say? Or should... or how should we? Should I continue share or should I stop sharing?
I think you can stop sharing, and if somebody refers to certain slides, we can go to the slide.